All right. Hello and welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us tonight. We were coming in tonight to talk about our 21-day challenge. So, if you were on our call last week, we gave you an overview of our 21-day spring glow up habit challenge. And we're focusing on 4 simple habits. We don't want to make this difficult for you. We're focusing on sleep, protein, movement, and hydration. And we're not just thinking about them, we're tracking them. And we are pairing them with those simple support tools like Ningxia Red or Balance and Burn, or maybe both. And we're going to add fun with some points and prizes. But really, this is about helping you build momentum and to prove to yourself that you can follow through with something for 21 days, right? People say it takes 21 days to build a habit. So we're giving you 21 days to prove it to yourself. I tell my students this all the time. You don't need to prove it to me, prove it to yourself. I can show up for me, not perfectly, but consistently. And that's what changes everything. So I'm really excited about this call tonight because one of the things we're focusing on in this challenge that might be one habit that could actually make everything work better for you, because you can be walking more and you can be drinking the water and you can be trying to eat better. But if your body doesn't have enough protein, it's actually much harder to let go of all of that fat. So, really, it's about understanding why protein matters and then making it super simple to do it. We mentioned that last week. Protein's a big buzzword, but is it really? It's actually a key component that we need. So, let's talk about why you might feel stuck. If you've been feeling like I'm trying, but nothing's really changing, or I still get cravings all the time, or my energy is just really up and down, there's a good chance that protein is part of that issue. A lot of women, especially busy women, end up under eating protein without realizing it. And when that happens, your body doesn't feel supported. It actually goes into kind of like a holding pattern. It's like holding onto the fat, it's increasing your cravings, and it actually slows things down. So it's not that you're doing it wrong, it's just that your body is missing something that it really needs. So this is going to be something that's hard to think about, but this is a very important mind shift that you need to do for yourself. Really important for your mindset as you're working through this. We don't just want to lose weight. I mean, we do, but we want to lose fat, because when you lose weight without the protein, your body is going to pull from your muscle too. And your muscle is what gives you that toned, strong look. And it's what keeps your metabolism running. Now, here's the part that can feel confusing if you don't know what's happening. Sometimes when you are eating enough protein and maybe you add in a little strength training, the scale might not move much, or it could even go up a little. And that can feel frustrating if you're only looking at the number. But what's actually happening is something that's really positive. You're shifting your body composition. You're building or maintaining muscle while losing fat. And muscle is more dense than fat. So it weighs more than fat, but it takes up less space and looks better on your body. So we have to kind of flip that switch on ourselves, right? It's not about that number on the scale. That's why we're not just chasing that lower number. We're focusing on changing what our body is made of, because that's what actually is going to give you the results you're looking for. So instead of focusing on that scale, we're going to shift our focus to, am I giving my body what it needs to actually change? And that starts with protein. So I'm going to give a little chat about why it matters. It does so much more than build muscle. So if you hear, like last week on our call, we talked about this as well. Protein, protein. Everyone's like, eat more protein. You can see everywhere in the grocery store now, everything it says protein as like one of their top labels, because we finally figured it out, right? It helps stabilize your blood sugar, so you're not on that roller coaster of those highs and the crashes. It helps you stay fuller longer, so you're not always thinking about food. And it supports your metabolism, so your body is actually using the fat for fuel. These are some shifts that those of you that are using the Balance and Burn might already be experiencing. Think of the magnified effect when you pair it with enough protein too. There's also something called the thermic effect of food. protein actually requires more energy for your body to digest. So you're naturally burning more calories just by eating it. Okay, doesn't that sound fun? Eat protein, you're burning more calories. I'll take that. Thank you. And this matters even more for us as women. After the age of 30, we naturally lose, listen to this, about 3 to 8% of our muscle mass per decade. I'm almost done with my 50s. Every decade since 30, we are naturally losing 3 to 8% of our muscle mass. So if you're not intentionally supporting your body with protein, we are making it harder to maintain that strong metabolism, and it's easier to gain fat over time. This is really about protecting your future body, not just changing the current one. So now I'm going to turn this over to Tracy, and she is going to talk a little bit more about protein and how to meet these goals.
Thank you so much, Sherry. That was such a great introduction. Okay, so let's talk about simplicity. This is what I live for, is like, let's keep this simple and not overcomplicate it. So here's the goal is generally you want to have about zero point 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, which is once you kind of think about it like that, it's a lot easier to remember. So for a lot of women, that ends up being somewhere around 120 to 150 grams per day. But don't let that number overwhelm you. Instead of thinking about the whole day, just kind of zoom in on your meals, right? So you're eating 3 meals a day. So if you aim for about 30 grams of protein at each of your meals, right? And maybe a couple of snacks throughout the day that are protein rich, you're gonna more or less meet that goal. And that's why you wanna be adding something like a protein shake, a higher protein snack, that can make it so much easier rather than trying to cram it all into your 3 big meals. So what does 30 to 40 grams of protein look like? Let's show you. Okay. So I want to show you, Sherry, if you don't mind, the next slide. Let me show you what this looks like. Okay. Um, this is what it looks like in real life. This is usually where everything kind of clicks together. Okay, so these are not complicated meals. These are things that you can repeat, mix and match, and make your own. So, for example, a protein shake made with Young Living's chocolate pure protein complete, which is phenomenal. It is so delicious. You pair that with some peanut butter, a banana, some milk. It's very easy. It's super quick. You're already at 30 to 35 grams right there. So that could be like a meal replacement, or it could be a snack. Or you could do something like non-fat Greek yogurt, which is already pretty high in protein in itself. Add in PB Fit, some frozen blueberries, and that's great for breakfast or a snack. If you're doing strength training, this is a really great pre-workout meal with good protein and carbs to fuel your workout. And then this is what I love to do personally is I love doing a simple chicken bowl. So shredded chicken, you can even do ground chicken with rice. Rice is like my staple. We eat rice every single day. A little bit of salsa. And if you wanted to add, like your cilantro, your onions, if you're doing dairy, add some cheese and you're done. So I personally love doing these like protein bowls and I mix and match, whether it's ground chicken, ground turkey, very lean ground beef. That's kind of what my main staple is for dinner. It's just very easy. And honestly, once I discovered how easy it is to cook boneless, skinless chicken thighs or chicken breast in the slow cooker or the Instant Pot, it just became such a total game changer. So now what I do is I like to make a big batch at the beginning of the week. And then I'll use everything. We'll do like chicken taco bowl, chicken salad, barbecue chicken sandwiches. Like it's just so easy without really having to think about it. And I personally love having something just like this. So if you haven't done so already, take a screenshot of this. I feel like we could even put this in the group, but just kind of keep this on you so that it's an easy reference for you to kind of look at. But even just a snack plate with like some cottage cheese, some fruit, maybe a rice cake with peanut butter. The goal here is not perfection, it's consistency. So we're not aiming for perfect meals. We're just kind of consistently, having a foundation. And I'll show you a really simple way to do that. But again, take a screenshot and kind of find and experiment with things that you like. Like I said, I love doing rice protein bowls. And that's sort of mix and match what I do throughout the week. I'll do an Asian version, a Mexican version, like it's just all different spices, but it's pretty much the same thing. And I like it because I'm not having to think what's for dinner tonight. It just makes it very easy. Okay, so let me show you the really simple way to do this, the hand portion guide. Have you guys heard of this, the hand portion guide? Okay, I love this method because it takes all the guesswork out of your portions and you don't need to track or measure. So just think of like, look at your hand, okay? Your palm is your protein, right? Your cupped hand is like your carbs. Your thumb is fats. Your fist is veggies. That's kind of an easy way to remember, right? Okay, so palm is protein, cupped is carbs, thumb is fats, fist is veggies. So that kind of gives you a really balanced plate without overthinking it. And I just want to simplify this even further is really focus on your protein. So instead of trying to figure out how to build the perfect plate, I want you to think, do I have a solid source of protein on my plate? So again, think of your palm, right? Is my protein on my plate sort of filling that? That's roughly about 25 to 30 grams right there. And that's what we're aiming for in each meal. If you hit your protein goals and then just kind of add in your carbs, your fats, your veggies as you go, you're already doing the most important part. And over time, it will become second nature where you don't even need to think about it. This is how we keep things simple and sustainable instead of thinking that you have to measure and track everything. Because again, at the end of the day, it's not about doing it perfectly. It's about doing it consistently. And that's what this challenge is all about. And can I just add one more thing? One little lever that I kind of pulled because I have been doing these like protein bowls and like eating and, just making some of these simple changes. For instance, I opted for more leaner beef, leaner meats because I was doing kind of more full fat meat. And then I kind of just turned down the dial on my fat just a little bit. I was doing like half and half in my tea. Now I'm switching to whole milk. So it really isn't that much difference. And I've definitely noticed some positive movement on the scale just by pulling those little levers. I really didn't change that much. So again, just, keep it really simple, prioritize your protein, make sure you're getting your veggies. That's the second thing that I would also prioritize, and your fiber. If you heard us talking earlier in this series, I think actually even with the Balance and Burn, fiber is something that is very easy to miss. And so something simple that I like to do is I eat an apple every day, maybe sometimes with a little bit of peanut butter because that's a nice source of protein, but eat an apple every day. Figure out some way to make sure you're getting enough fiber because sometimes we'll miss that. Okay, so this week's focus. This is where we're going to bring it back to the challenge, okay? You've officially started tracking your habits, your water, your protein, your movement, and your sleep. And I don't want you to overcomplicate this. Just stay consistent. Focus on getting your protein in. Again, remember, okay, the palm of your hand, aiming for 30 grams at each meal, and you build your meals around it, okay? Using simple options when you need to. Keep tracking, even if it's not perfect, because the consistency is what creates the results over time. And don't forget, you also have your support tools. Okay, so Balance and Burn is there to support what you're already doing, helping with metabolism, your blood sugar, your cravings. And Ningxia Red, my favorite supplement ever, is there to help support your body at the cellular level with lots of antioxidants. It helps to support your energy levels. It provides a nutrient infusion for your whole body. So when you pair that with these habits, then that just makes everything work together. And remember, we also have prizes tied to consistency here. So next time, we're going to be talking about something that, depending on where you struggle, will be even more powerful to all of this and how to help you sleep better than a baby. I don't know if it's just perimenopause, menopause, but like, holy cow, sleep has definitely been a struggle for me. So I'm very excited for this. But here's the thing, when your sleep improves, everything else gets easier. Your energy, your cravings, your fat loss. So sleep is definitely something not to sleep on. You definitely want to be focused on that as well. So keep going, stay consistent, and we cannot wait to see you on next week's call. All right. Sherry, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
I just wanted to add that if you don't already have a tracker, to reach out to Tracy or myself or whoever sent you this video for the replay, and we can get the tracker to you because we are actively doing this now. And I think that's it. So thank you so much for joining us, everyone. Have a good night, and we'll see you next week.